go. Good to go. Just gonna. Here. People keep logging on, but I'm gonna go ahead and start. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and get going. Here comes everyone. Good. I'm Judge Person. I welcome everybody to the Temple Municipal Court, and I do want to give some basic information as we get started. One thing I want to let everyone know is that while there will be an opportunity to speak on your own behalf, I'll actually keep people muted till it's their turn, because the effect of not doing so means that everybody cancels everybody out. The next thing I want to do is just confirm a few people that I'm not sure if I've got your proper file pulled up. I can't tell by the name on the screen. I've got a few folks on phone, and that's a normal thing. But gentlemen with kind of like it's like a black bib on the yellow shirt. Yes, sir. No, don't take it off unless you need to. But I'm just asking you, let me know who you are, because you're identified as iPhone.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Dwayne Arbuthnot.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arbuthnot. I will change the name on the screen just to not lose track of your case.
Yes.
And yeah, I think let me just get you down. I'm kind of noting when people, it's a line, and if you're in the courtroom, it's a line. So I just want to keep everybody in line so you don't lose your place. And I'll be back with you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. And then I did have a person that I was not able to identify, just called Samsung. And if you could, let me find it and just see if I can hit them with there we go. Gentleman with a blue shirt, could you let me know your name, please? Yes, you. Thank you.
Jamal Baba.
Thank you, Mr. Baba. I'll be right with you.
Okay.
I recognize your face, but I don't always get the names.
I see.
Yes. No problem. And then I had a couple of telephone call persons. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a gentleman named Jose Castro. Could you tell me, could you unmute and let me know who has a case today with you?
Who has a case with me?
Right. Do you have a case, or is it a family member?
No, I have a case.
Okay. Sorry.
In relation to Temple Mall.
Okay. I'll have someone working on that, and I'll be back with you in a moment, okay?
Okay.
And is it a business name
Yes.
on the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Kohan Retail.
Kohan?
Yes. Kohan Retail.
COHAN?
Yes.
Okay, we'll look for the file and I'll keep you in line, where your place is. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And then I had a couple of phone callers and I've got a few late people and I'll deal with all of that, but I do want to get going on some. Oh, that person, yeah, okay. Excuse me. More phone callers. Phones are, we'll work with it, we'll do our best. Okay, well, I'll just work with folks as we go. Mr. Matson is the city's prosecutor. He represents the state of Texas in the cases that are on trial here. He is not my employee, although he is routinely appearing before the court by assignment. He is assigned there by the city attorney's office. So he is the equivalent of a district attorney at a Class C level. That's where that happens. Mr. Matson, I would like you to unmute and introduce yourself to folks. Talk long enough for you to pull up on their screens. The way Zoom works, it'll push you out into their screens.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Matson. I'm the prosecutor for Temple.
Thank you, sir. Okay, if you are here on the pretrial docket, meaning that you have entered a plea of not guilty, or there is some kind of issue regarding the matter that is possibly not agreed, then that puts that onto a pretrial docket. This is a convenient platform. We do have the opportunity to move forward and move the case into the courtroom. And today, if you're here, we'll work with you. But that doesn't mean that you have to resolve the case. If it's resolved, it does cancel that next date, but it's not a problem to come on in at the next date. Mr. Matson, I see Brandon Mason here representing, if I could, Fred McMillan. Is that right, Mr. Mason?
That is right, Judge.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move y'all into that meeting space. That's a breakout space. I'm sure Mr. Mason, is familiar with that process, but if you're on that docket, what happens is that there are conversations that sometimes folks will have, regarding a case. Judges are expected to not participate in those kinds of conversations. I'm not permitted to weigh the facts at this time and make a decision as to whether or not you're guilty. We do that with everyone under oath here in the court following the legal procedures for trial. And so pre-trials are something that judges schedule and required to be scheduled, but do not attend. However, at the end of that meeting, for folks who've never done this before, you'll come back over from that breakout room. We just call it a breakout room. It's just another virtual space. And we'll just check in about which direction the case appears to be going. And the next meeting is really a scheduling meeting for trial. It's not the trial itself. It's not a long process. A few minutes of your time to come by, and we just do any pretrial matters if the case is unresolved. Discovery, things of that nature happen at that point. And today we're just I am looking to hear and see what is the direction that appears to be going. So I know Mr. Mason, you're probably familiar, and Mr. Matson certainly is as well. So I will push y'all over to that meeting at this time, unless there is any objection. Seeing none, I will go ahead and move that over. Okay, folks remaining, and that docket comes in and out. Okay, and I'm working to lines. I need to talk to a clerk real quickly, and then I want to give some announcements as we get going. Good morning. On Mr. Castro, we're looking for Cohan Retail, and I don't see. Am I missing it on my list? Oh, he spelled it with a C. I see it now. Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry. Let me address that. Okay, let's see. All right, I've got some folks in the waiting room. And sometimes it's a little chaotic, but courtrooms are chaotic anyway. They probably don't feel chaotic when you're standing there. But this is a convenient platform. It's very useful, but please remember we are still technically considered to be in court my expectation is that people conduct themselves as such, okay? I have the right to remove who are not conforming their behavior. So I've got someone who just keeps going in and out. Phone call, folks, if you're on a telephone, like you're not on a screen, you're not on a smartphone, you're just on a dial up, let me try to figure out who those folks are. There's an area code 254, and the phone number ends in at least the last 3 to 4 numbers are 668. Can you tell me who you are?
Demaria Evans,
Is that your telephone number?
626 8680. I'm sorry. Did
Okay,
you call that?
I don't think that's you
I'm
because
sorry.
you're on a smartphone and your name is on here. But I did hit this person with an unmute request. I'll keep trying. I've got another one ending in 986 and another one ending in 656. And if they're able to unmute, I just hit y'all with an unmute request. If you have your phone telling you how to unmute, it's because I'm trying to get you to unmute so I can hear you. But I will move forward. Yes. Hi, what's your name?
Yes, Your Honor. I am Reynaldo Garcia. I'm speaking for Mr. Hugo Osorio because he don't speak English.
What is his last? Oh, Osorio.
Yes, ma'am.
And your name is Ms. Garcia?
Mr. Garcia, yes.
Mr. Garcia, I apologize. Thank you for being available. We'll see what we can do. There's probably some limits. We might need to come in, but we'll work and see shortly. And I'll be calling his name in a moment for his turn, okay?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
I'll do my level best to make sure that whatever we're able to do today online, we can do. And let me get Mr. Mason back over and get that file pulled on the McMillan case. Thank you, Mr. Mason. Thank you, Mr. Mattson. Where are we on this matter?
Your Honor, Mr. Mason is going to take a couple different offers back to his client, and he's also requested discovery. So if we could get that on the calendar, that'd be great.
Certainly. Why don't we?
Go ahead.
So normally I add discovery to the next setting that was already sent to Mr. Mason's office, which is May 31st at 2 o'clock. And I normally just roll the discovery in. Once you get that discovery, you likely will get it beforehand, Mr. Mason, because there are procedures established for you as an attorney to do so. But we'll make sure at that setting that it's been accomplished and also do a check-in on the pretrial. And that gives you ample time, I think, to take everything back to your client and work in the way that you wish.
Absolutely, Judge. So far, I haven't had a problem getting the discovery and all that. So I think should be pretty smooth getting a hold of that and then talking to Ryan.
Okay. All right. So both of you, then I will say the final pretrial, which is our next setting, is May 31st at 2 o'clock. Plan to be here. It's usually 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll go from there. If the case is resolved, of course, it cancels that out. But I don't really wade in at this point on that matter. Are we all clear? Everybody on the same page?
Good to go on a
Sounds
Monday.
good to me, Judge.
Mr. Mason, unless you wish to remain, you're good to go at your discretion.
Oh, thank you. Y'all have a good morning.
You stay blessed. Thank you. Mr. Mattson, I'm going to move you forward with Demaria Evans. Demaria Evans, can you unmute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are you able to get on video?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
It's okay, but it's helpful. Communication works a little bit better. You know what? We've got one hindrance already being online, and now if we add the visual and the audio back in, it's helpful. So I will move back to that meeting, and as you've already seen, my expectation is you'll come back. Mr. Mattson, I haven't gone through, actually, I'm jumping the gun, I'll be right back to do that, Mr. Evans. Let me do one more thing. So actually, before I do all of that, what I do now is I just let everybody know how things move through a courtroom and the options that you have available. This type of court is a Class C court. That means that things here are fine-only offenses. That means they result in the imposition of fines and costs, but jail time is normally not assessed. Now, folks can wind up with a warrant, which can subject them to arrest and jail time. You can always avoid that by being on time and following your court order. If you're in a sentence and it's not working out, we'll be working on that today. If you're not in a sentence yet and you're entering a plea and we're sentencing today, make sure you understand your court order. And if you're on the pretrial docket, well, we always have a next setting until the case is completed. And then whatever direction the case takes, there may be or may not be additional settings. So just always keep up with it and keep your address current. We do send notices out to the address that we have on file. We sometimes send courtesy notes out to email, but that is legally not the requirement. The requirement is the address. So we try to do the email if we have time, if we know it's accurate, but keep your address current with us because that's the legal requirement. Okay. We send notices out if we think there is a problem. I send notices out saying, please contact us. Let's figure this out. And that's your opportunity to prevent a warrant. So it's really important, and I can't highlight it enough to keep up with things. And if you don't understand, to ask questions. Most of us represent ourselves in a court like this one. And it's a good idea just to keep up with it. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you is that when you're given that ticket or issued a citation, those are all methods under the law for accusing someone. That is what a ticket is. It's an accusation. And a plea is an answer or response to that accusation. And there are three options for pleading: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. And our law presumes that we are not guilty. If you enter a plea of not guilty, that does shift the burden over to the state to prove the case against you. Therefore, it is an indirect request for trial. And I will be moving that case toward a trial process unless something changes about that situation that would cause me to change the direction. And that means that today is a pretrial. If the case is resolved and we finish the case with a resolution of dates or whatever have you, we do that. If the case is not resolved, the next meeting we come in to the court on your court date. That's not a trial, that is a final pretrial. And my expectation at that point is we're scheduling trial and anything trial related that needs to be filed ahead of time. So I will remind you of that date today, if that's the docket that you're on. That's the room breakout with Mr. Mattson, who is the prosecutor. If you plead guilty, you're saying I did this. And if you plead no contest, you're authorizing the court to find you guilty without admitting or denying. So those are the three options for pleading. Now, as far as sentencing, the options available, I always assume that folks are like me, and that doesn't mean that everyone is. What I mean is, some of us are interested in our records. Some of us are interested in money concerns, and some of us have both of those concerns. And I don't know unless you tell me, but I make an attempt to sort of address those concerns in this kind of speech that I'm giving, because if it were me, these are the types of questions I would be asking myself. That's not to say that this is legal advice, because I'm not applying the law to your case and telling you what you should or shouldn't do or how to handle your case. But I am letting you know how things move through a court, what options are available along the way. I'll keep it pretty brief, but I try to give just enough information in case you have questions, and also for you to know when you're expected to speak up. Okay, so if you plead guilty or no contest, the law says you're found guilty, you pay the fines and costs. Now, there's always exceptions because the law is that way. There are always a bunch of exceptions along with that general rule. And so the way that it works is that you are, let's talk about the money part of it. So I do need to look at your financial situation, and you would have been asked for income information in connection with that idea of that possibly happening. If you're on the contested docket and having pled not guilty, you also were requested for the exact same information, because eventually I'm looking at setting a bond on that case in order to schedule trial. So I try to just collect it all at once because I need the information to do my job. So I do have the right to ask, and that can sometimes be disconcerting to folks. There is a legal reason for it. And I'm also a fan, coupled with that legal requirement, I'm not a fan of making you fill out the same information over and over and over unless it's necessary. And so I just try to do one form to guide them all. So that's what I'm doing there. Now, I will look at that in connection with setting a bond on the contested docket. I will look at that in connection with sentencing on the guilty or no contest approach. And I will make adjustments that I think are appropriate. And sometimes also, once we have a discussion, sometimes I have questions. And once we have a discussion and I get better information, sometimes I make adjustments there as well. And therefore, I'm just trying to get information that allows me to make a reasonable assessment of what is appropriate. And it's different per person. Nobody's circumstances are exactly the same. Okay. So that's why I'm being nosy. All right. The next thing is, so I'm looking at fines and costs in connection with payment reductions, income information in relation to community service adjustments, things like that. The next thing is, the next statement I made is that it goes on your record, you're found guilty. There are 4 exceptions that I have available from the bench when you plead guilty or no contest. Let me tell you how those work. First, I'll tell you what they are, and I'll tell you just a little bit about them. Compliance dismissals, driver safety course options, deferred dispositions, and teen court are all methods to have an item removed from your record. Compliance dismissals, the first one, are things that the state law says can be brought up to date and dismissed. A great example would be being cited for a broken headlight. You fix the headlight, you're on time to court, you prove that it's fixed, you pay $10, the case is dismissed, and you save about $200, okay? So what you can expect, and you're welcome to ask about your case, eligible, but what you can expect is that I will be looking for them, okay? I'm not 100% perfect, so feel free to ask, but it does say the judge shall do a dismissal if the judge understands that the matter has been brought up to date. So you can ask me. I don't actually see any of those directly on my docket, but I just have a couple of cases listed per person. When I look at your individual file, I'll be checking. The second way to gain a dismissal is if you qualify and you successfully complete a driver safety course option. With the driver safety course option, you pay part of the ticket, you get your record and your driving course turned in, and you get a dismissal. Now, let me back up just a tiny bit. It's a good time to talk about fines and costs, the ticketing system in the state of Texas, and a little bit about how it works. So if you get a ticket, you call a clerk and you say, how much is this ticket? And the clerk says $285. That would be pretty high. But let's say that's what the clerk says. So part of that ticket is a court cost and part of it is a fine, okay? The court cost is set by the Texas legislature. I do not control the Texas legislature. The second part is a fine, and that is set by the judge of the court. That would be me, okay? In the driver safety course option, you pay the court cost, and I put the fine on hold. And then if you turn in your course and your record, your case gets dismissed. Your fine sitting here on hold gets, when the case is dismissed off your record, the fine is waived and you don't pay it. It is cheaper to do that than to pay your whole ticket. And that is by design, because we know that people drive better for a while, 10 to 12 months after they take that course, even though they don't, it's not overwhelmingly something people love to sit through. However, and we do take all the courses that are approved online or around town, they just specifically need to be designated for driver safety dismissal process. And it's a 6-hour class. On the online option, you can log in and out and kind of do it at your time when your time permits. So I will walk you through that if you want to do it. And if it looks like you are eligible, and once again, you got to qualify, then get it done to get the dismissal. I'll be looking to see if you're qualified And if so, I'll be talking to you about it. When it's your turn, you're welcome to ask questions about it. I'm not in that context. I won't wait for your questions. I'll be looking. Okay. But feel free to jump in and ask because it's your case. I don't mind. Third option is called a deferred disposition. Deferred is a statement that, or a word that just means delay, and disposition means to make final. I delay making your case final. Put a court order in place. The court order lists the things you're going to do to earn your dismissal. If you do them, they're there in black and white. You know exactly what you need to do. If you do them, you get a dismissal. Deferred works a little differently from the other two. I'm not looking for you. You are advocating for yourself. You must request a deferred, and the judge then must consider it. And then the judge says yes or no. Okay. And that is true if the prosecutor and you agree separately to bring a deferred to me, I still can up or down on the yes, no part. But you must say you want it and enter a plea that allows it. Guilty or no contest, I'd like a deferred. It's quite simple, but people get, they're not sure what to say. And I understand that, but that's how you do it. Okay. So just pay attention on that one because it's on the website. It's on the paper that you filled out, but without giving a lot of making that form 2 pages long, I just list it and then I explain it when we talk. So if you didn't check it and I have not yet accepted your plea, you can still ask. Bring it up, or I will assume that you don't want to do that. That's what the law says I do. The fourth option is teen court. Teen court looks a little like a deferred because there's a list of things to do. It's less expensive, okay? And what the things to do similarly are geared toward the behavior that may have brought you to court in the first place, but it is for students, high school and below. If you're in a GED program and you can prove that to me, I can consider it and maybe utilize teen court. If you're in high school or middle school or in homeschool, I can consider it. If I'm not talking to you about teen court and you're a student, please bring it up to me. I'm usually looking and trying to push you into teen court because teen court is our most successful option for folks who come to court that I don't see again later with the new offense. It's the most successful in terms of reoffending. Okay, it's not perfect, but it does work in many cases. Okay, so that's the 101. We're going to now start moving pretty quickly. What I find is if I get everybody on the same page, we all work a little more efficiently than if I don't. So that's the 101 on getting on the same page. And now, Mr. Metzen, Demarie Evans is your first person. And Demarie Evans, there you are. Can you go ahead and unmute and get back on screen? I know we were doing that earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, I'll move you over to that meeting with our prosecutor, Mr. Metzen.
Yes, ma'am.
And y'all will come back at the end. Come back in this way. Okay. And then I am moving forward as well. William Raines, can you unmute and tell me how have you been?
I've been doing a lot better, ma'am.
Good. I'm very glad to hear it. It's been a long time since I've seen your face, but I did recognize you. I did see this is an October 16th charge. It's a public intoxication charge. And let me just kind of look.
Yeah, I was go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. And thank you. But just give me a second to look. I know things are up with your grandmother from what you're telling me here. Okay. So the animal shelter, Bell County Animal Shelter. I'm looking at your hours.
Yeah, I went and tried to get it done as quickly as I could, and then they told me that the animal shelter wasn't a place I could go to do the hours. But that's the place, one of the places on the list that they sent me, ma'am.
Hold on just a second. Let me try to sort it out in a second, okay? Can we get our list, that list? Because that did used to be on the list. Oh, I see. Okay, so Mr. Raines, here's what happened. The 12 hours that we needed, and let me just, where's the paper that said alcohol related? Just give me a moment, okay? I need to look at my court order, make sure. I always want to double check things when there are questions. Hold on one moment. While I'm waiting for that to happen, and Mr. Raines, what's happening is we have a slow system and I'm pulling it up. So we granted time served. Let me look at my sheet note.
Yeah, I did that's why I told him, I said I didn't understand why I was gonna do that, because I remember signing a paper for 3 days time served in jail. And
Yeah, we did that. We already did that part. But these types of charges normally have an alcohol class associated with it. And I'm just looking for my um you're 19. Definitely are required to do a class. Are you working, Mr. Raines?
yes, ma'am, I work 40 hours a week.
Okay. So the class that you're required to do, the 12 hours, is in the form of an alcohol awareness. You can do online. Okay, and I can give you some time. Where's my?
Just as long as you can email it to me, ma'am, because I get different emails from different people, and I don't know if they're for sure. Like when they sent me that, because I'm a little upset that I went and did the work, but I mean, I did it. Even if it didn't count, I did it for a good reason anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah, it's the work that you did, and honestly, I think I have a little bit of discretion in terms of how many hours your class needs to be. So I'm going to. We did send a letter to you, and it had a list, and we provided it. You can resend it to you. We sent that to you. What's the date of it? It was due March. Yeah, we sent it in December, and it was due March 16th. And I'm reading the letter, and it says exactly what you needed to do. So I'm hearing that you might be upset, but with respectfully, I mean, the letter is really clear on what you need to do. But I can give you more time. I can't give you a ton more time. If I gave you 30 days, can we get it done? You'll have to pay for the class online. And we can email that to you, to the email that we have on file. That would be the email that we used that provided the link that you clicked on today to be in this meeting. Does that email work for you?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm just going to. Trouble pulling it. Okay. We're going to get that set up. And what I'm going to do is give you until May 11th. And I'm just going to confirm real quickly on the amount of hours. And Mike, if I can lower them, I will. Give me a second to check on that. I can lower it to 8.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, let me just make a note. Sorry, I'm looking at my.
Um,
There are several. And the D is not required, but let me add one thing. He takes care of the elder person, so he can do it. All right. Okay, Mr. Raines, I don't know why I have an itchy nose today. Mr. Raines, so we will email to the email that we have on file. And has that changed from what you clicked on today? Did you have to forward that, or did you just go to your email and click on the meeting today?
I just clicked on the meeting today.
Okay, good. We'll send it to that email and it'll be later this morning, okay? And then what it is there'll be a list of places. There's like a column that runs down the page, and some of them are 4, 6, 8, 12. You want an 8-hour class, and there's like 3 to choose from, okay? And you just do that class. They'll send you a certificate of completion. You send that in to us before May 11th, and we're done. You'll be fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Raines?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The only thing that will change on the letter that we sent are just the number of hours and the.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good day.
The reason you're doing this is to avoid a license suspension, and it's required by law. I don't have a way to waive it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Matson, I know that you were talking with Demarie Evans, and if I could get an update, that would be handy.
We are going to continue the final pre-trial, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. May 31st at 1 is our date. And Demarie Evans, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, we'll see you then. Expect to be here. I tell people an hour, it's frequently less. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not your trial, remember. It is, we're scheduling everything, and there's a layer of rights that I just don't do online. It doesn't work. So I'll see you then.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. You're good to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Matson, I'm moving you forward. Let's see, with Matthew Lyles. Matthew Lyles, can you unmute and let's make sure your audio is working so I can move you forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will move you into that meeting with the prosecutor. Okay, and I too am moving forward. Let's see. If I could talk to Caleb Thornton and family. How are y'all doing this morning?
Good.
We're doing great. How about you?
Thank you for asking. I'm well. I'm getting your file pulled up, so give me 2 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is a theft charge under $100, and it is from March 11th, 2023. The fines and costs are $296. I did receive your request for team court. I also received a plea of guilty. So I'm going to just take these one bite at a time. Mr. Thornton, did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
understand? Good morning. Did you understand the conversation that we were having, or that I was directing, about guilty, not guilty, and no contest, and what those mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Mom, are you mom?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like he understood that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And please, if you could, let me just look and see. Your name is Amanda Baggerly, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And y'all also were good enough to fill out all the forms. And so I do need to, I'm required to kind of walk through those. I'm not going to read them out loud to you. I'm just going to kind of hit them, tell you what they generally address, and see if there are questions. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So Caleb, what I have here, the first thing that you signed, and it had a big number 1 at the bottom, was a magistrate warning. And it's basically in writing those things you might have heard on like crime shows where people say you have the right to remain silent, those kinds of things.
Yes.
So what it basically says in the juvenile context, you have the right to stop any interviews or questioning at any time. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you. If peace officers or attorneys are representing the state are questioning you, you are not required to answer them, and you may cease and say, I need a parent, I need an attorney. And then you have the right to not make a statement. Basically, it's like a set of negatives. You don't have to do those things. Did you understand that when you read it through? I know you signed it, but I just want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any questions of your own?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Mom, did you have any questions about that one?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The next one just basically said, address changes need to be made when y'all make changes. We need to know until the case is completed. Completion in this kind of court means either there's a zero balance or there is a dismissal. Depends on your case and what's appropriate.
Okay.
And I got the address change. I appreciate it. And then the third form, number 3 at the bottom, says, ongoing duty to make sure that we know how to mail a letter that will reach you. That's basically what all of that language meant. That's legally required language. I can't just say, please keep your address current. I have to tell you all of those things. But essentially what it tells you is that obligation ends when your case is over. Okay. The 4th form says, if you don't follow a court order, if I make a court order and you don't follow it, like you don't show up, you don't do something on time, if you just blow it off and I don't hear from you, I have the right to hold you in contempt and file additional charges. And then the final form says, under certain conditions, when you reach a specific age, and in this case for thefts, it would be 17, if you have a conviction on your record, at 17, you can apply and ask that it be expunged. I always tell people the best way to think about expunction or expungement is to think of a big sponge coming in and just wiping it off. You have the right to have that removed from your record at 17. Okay. You are 14 though, that's a ways away. It'll be here before Mom knows it, but it may feel slow for you.
No.
But what I will tell you is that I can accept your plea and move forward, but we have a first offender program that is an agreement in writing that I have with this particular prosecutor, that folks who are accused for a first time with a theft charge, because the theft charge is so detrimental to future work availability, and because you are under the age of 17, in fact, from my position, 25, we're going to go ahead and see if you want to do a class. It's a theft intervention class. You would have to pay for it. I would give you just a month to get it done. but you would get it done and get it turned in and on time before your next court date. And that would allow, through this prosecutor agreement that I have with the city's prosecutor office, for us to go ahead and sign a dismissal and not pay the $296 and not go through the team court process. And hopefully I will not see you on anything again. But if you
I
start-
hope so.
Yes,
but if
ma'am.
you start driving at 16 and you forget to put your blinker on, you'll still have team court as an option available at that point.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We use it. So it keeps it off your record. Are you interested in doing so?
Do you want to do that? Do you want to do the class?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm going to tell you that if you do team court, it's more involved, and I'm still going to require the class because the class works.
What about the community service? Is that an option, or
Okay,
would it
so
be better to do the class?
yeah, so that's a great question, Mom. And here's what I'll say, like parent to parent. I'm going to use the tool that's the most effective, that tells me as a judge, I'm less likely to see this person on this charge again. And community service can help people who, if they're inclined to think about it and fret about it while they're picking up garbage, that's not helpful. That's helpful. But the most help is taking a course that requires that Caleb think through a strategy to avoid what happened here happening again.
Okay.
And that's a little different for everybody. So young people commit thefts for reasons that are very different from what someone looking on the outside might think. I get a lot of parents who say, but he had money. He had money in his pocket.
Yeah.
It's often the case. Okay. Another thing would be, there's an item that we already own. Another thing would be, just like kids can be really flummoxed. They are like, what in the world happened? And the whole truth, if you listen in, and I'm going to ask actually that sort of, you're not taking the course, but that you're present while he's doing it, just to kind of keep him focused. The classes will make sure you're there. You can't turn it on and walk away. It will kick you out. But what you'll find is what happened in the mind of your young person. And more importantly, they will find what happened in their mind. And they will develop a plan for not reoffending. So that when something comes up again where they're tempted, and it will happen again.
Yeah.
He will be ready to walk away from that in a way that's effective for him.
Yes.
For me, that's the most effective tool, and therefore that's the tool I want to use. I'm
Okay,
not going
yes,
to go grab a hammer for a screwdriver situation.
Okay, yeah, we will choose the class.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's not team court though. It's an extension for the theft dismissal process. We might want to look. It looks like sometimes when we get new folks in, we start realizing we need to maybe make some updates and things. So we might start doing that. But what will happen today, Mom and Caleb, is that y'all will come by. You'll sign an extension that says, I understand I've entered a plea. This is a conditional situation. If I don't show up, my plea is going to get accepted and I'm going to get found guilty. But I agree that, and I know that if I sign this and do the course and get it turned in, the judge signs a dismissal per prosecutor recommendation.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So we need y'all to swing by to make a signature this
Okay.
morning. What time can you be here?
As soon as we are done with this, we can head that way.
Okay, don't rush because I've got to get the paper ready and clerks are working hard, but I don't want to overwhelm them. Can we say around 10:15, 10:30?
10:15 would be fine, yes.
Okay, 10:15, 10:30.
Yes,
We'll
ma'am.
look for you. You won't have to come get in a line. You've already done that. You'll just come to the window, whoever's available, give them your name and let them know you're here to sign documents from court this morning, and they'll have them.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Do y'all have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Caleb, let me ask you one. What do you
Yes.
want to, you may not know yet, but if you know, what do you want to do when you get older?
Military and military for game warden.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a secret. You have to get this class done and get this dismissed because
Yes,
game wardens can't have any history of any kind with a court. So really pay attention to your class as if your future depends upon it, because it does. This is the one shot you've got to remove it.
Yes, ma'am.
I know game wardens. And their backgrounds have to be stellar perfect. And I want that feature for you. And so does our prosecutor. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Y'all are good to go. We'll see you up here shortly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Thank you both.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Mr. Lyles, Mr. Mattson, let's get a check-in on the case pending. I'm pulling the file. Okay, this is a handicap placard expired card, and the fines and costs are $519. They're mandated by law. And where are we with regard to this matter?
Your Honor, Mr. Lyles has previously submitted an updated placard, so I'll be dismissing this charge.
Okay. Mr. Lyles, I will sign that and we will email it to the email that we used to set up this meeting. Will that work for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just making some notes for the clerk. And there's no problem. I can follow that request. Anybody have any questions on this case?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Prosecutor. Okay, Mr. Lyles, you can hang out if you want to, but otherwise you're good to go. We'll email that to you shortly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mattson, I am moving you forward, and your next person is Danielle Law. Danielle Law, can you unmute? And good morning.
Yes.
How
Good
are
morning.
you?
Good.
I'll move you over to that meeting with the prosecutor. Pull that file. I am also looking to talk to Emily Potter.
Hi.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning. Let me get your file pulled. It will only take me a second. This is a possession of tobacco by a minor. We had a show cause now because we're missing the tobacco class. And let me just read your note. Okay. Okay. Are you signed up to take your class? Have you signed up to get into one?
Not yet, but I do, like, I have the website saved. I just have to go and pay for it and everything.
I can give you a 2-week extension. It's not really an extension. What I can do is this is a show cause where I go, well, I'm going to convict you and you got to pay everything. Or I go, well, why don't we reschedule this I'm going to convict you moment and let me get some more information in, like you get it done and get it turned in. And let's have another moment where I look at it and make sure it's done. And I'm willing to be a little more lenient on the deadline wasn't exact. So I would reschedule this on my own request for April 25th as a show cause.
Yes.
And I'm resetting to give you, a heads up on how I'm going to look at this, which is that I just want it done. Okay,
Yes.
and I want it to the court, but you'll still log on to the meeting, make sure I've got it so that you don't go, well, I turned it in and I go, well, we never got it. And now you think I'm dismissing and I don't think that's what I'm doing. So
Yes.
we're going to reschedule this meeting and I'll allow you to turn it in. To turn it in beforehand, and I'm making a note that it will be out of date. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, all right. Do you have questions?
Is this still gonna, is it still gonna be deferred or?
We're still in that process. What you're in is kind of like a deferral. It kind of falls under the category of deferral, and it kind of falls under the category of a compliance. There's a real specific statute I don't talk about in those 4 things because it sort of falls under this category right here.
Yes.
And that is that this one is just designated by law. You paid the court costs, the fines went on hold. It's almost like driving a safety course for the tobacco. And you get your course turned in and we dismiss it and the fine gets waived. So you'll be saving $100 if you do the course and get it turned in. If you took the conviction, you would have paid the whole ticket and still been required to do the class. So this is a way to save some money and get some good education.
Thank you.
Do you feel like you have the tools that you need in order?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand the court order is to get that course done and turned in before April 25th, which is the reset Zoom meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. If you wind up with any questions as you proceed, you can always call and ask this.
Okay.
Or your
Will this be emailed to me by any chance?
So we already did. That's why I'm
Okay.
asking if you still need it.
Yes.
Actually, we will email you we'll email the reset. Yeah, we'll email that Zoom. We'll email the new date.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Potter. Hopefully we'll get back on the same page. Jay Vine Eldridge, can you unmute and tell me how you're doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good, thank you. And Mom, how are you today?
I'm fine.
Great.
How are you?
Thank you for asking. I'm very well. I'm just getting the file pulled. I have a lot of files today. And this is a theft charge. And it is from dated accusation date of March 11th. And I did receive all your paperwork. I know you were listening when I went through the documents earlier with the other person, but I need to do that with y'all as well, okay? And so first, Mom, could you give me your name?
Della Brunson.
Did you say Bronson?
Yes.
Like VERO?
BRUNSON. Brun.
Bronson.
Yes.
Forgive me, got it. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. And so that first form was really just the warnings under law. It's just that right to remain silent, right to hire an attorney, right to cease any interviews or questioning by peace officers or attorneys representing the state. We're not really in that direct context right now. But normally, do you say your name Javine or Javine?
Javen.
Javen, thank you. Javen, when you're in that context where you are being interviewed by peace officers or attorneys representing the state, you always have the right to say, I don't want to answer any more questions. I need an attorney. I need my parent. And okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So you understand that. We'll move to the second form that's just about the duty to keep your address current until your case is completed. And I believe that you've heard me review this already, but I still just want to check in and make sure you understand until your case is completed means either a dismissal or a zero balance, whichever we get to first. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Today I'll be making some sort of order. It's usually associated with something that you're going to do in a deadline. And that is a court order, and a failure to follow up and meet that deadline is a violation of a court order, which means that you could be held in contempt and additional charges could be filed against you when you turn 17. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then there's another one that says that you have an opportunity when you turn 17, have a single item removed from your record. And this one would be 17. There are different ones depending on the type of offense. So that was a 2-page form, page 4 and page 5. And that's really what it was talking to you about. That's it in a nutshell, as they say. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Mom, do you feel like he's understanding basic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what he's charged with is a theft under $100. Like he understands what the problem is with that accusation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I did receive a plea of guilty. Before I accept that plea, Javen, can you tell me, did you understand the whole conversation about guilty, not guilty in the contest?
Yes, ma'am.
Mom, do you feel like he understands?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I can accept your plea, but only temporarily because you're on time. You did ask for teen court. You are a school student and you qualify for the first offender program for theft charges, which means that you would take a class, we'd reschedule your case, you would turn in your theft intervention class, and your case would be dismissed, and there would be no finding of guilt and no 296 to pay. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd pay for the class, but if I grant teen court, you pay for teen court and you pay for the class. So this is a little bit less expensive, and that might, people wonder, like, was that really real? But the truth is, I believe this impacts our community when you have a theft charge early in your life. I believe you stay here and you're not qualified to do as many jobs, and that really hurts us all. So we want to open that future back up for you. Okay, Javen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what I would require from y'all today is to buy with mom. And it's called a first offender theft program. And you're agreeing to get your course completed and turned in. And that's a 30-day window. We need it back by May 11th. And you have a way to take a class online?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not a super expensive class, but it is, you'll have to pay for it. But mom, I think it's money well spent. It's not just something that I think, oh, do this, and then I can say I made you do something. It's actually something that I have found over a 20-year career of doing this to be pretty effective. And I'm less likely to see him again. You're less likely to find that he's ruined his future. So you and I think, agree. We want him to learn. I think he probably agrees that's true too. And so learning to not reoffend is the best approach we could take right now. Do y'all agree?
Yes, ma'am.
What time can y'all come by? Sign?
Ma'am.
What time can y'all come by to sign and get the course information?
As soon as we're through in court.
Okay, how about 10:30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, just come to any clerk. Any clerk can help you in the lobby. So you won't be here a super long time, okay? And if you need an excuse to get back to work or school, you can get that in the lobby.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too, both.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Mr. Matson, I know you were talking with Danielle Law, and if we could get an update where we are on the matter of a speeding February 7th.
Your Honor, Ms. Law has agreed to terms of deferral.
Okay.
That will be a 120-day period with a driver safety course by day 60. And I was actually curious on whether Ms. Law would qualify for community service or not.
So I'm looking and I'm thinking, yes. Let me double check that statement. Yes.
And in that case, Your Honor, the state does recommend that community service be granted.
Okay. All right. Whoops. Okay. So just to get kind of a rundown and make sure I'm on the same page between you and the law, this is a deferral that begins today, and we will need to get signatures today, and it will run from today until August 11th. During that time, I'm expecting a driving safety course on June 27th, no later than, early but not late. And I'm expecting community service, and that would be turned in at exactly the same date so that you're not making. But I am finding that you're indigent, or that you would qualify to do community service instead of payment. It does turn into 14 hours. And we will have a list of places where you can do the work, as well as a timesheet to keep track of your hours. There's a single signature waiver that you'll need to sign that just tells you that the city of Temple is one of the many providers on the community service list. If you go and work with them, they don't have any coverage if you're injured. They don't have any privacy when you're out there doing something. The other thing I will tell you is that you need to use the list. If you leave the list, there's very specific instructions that you would follow that are built into it. You'll see that in there, but that's a process of getting pre-approval for anything that deviates. And you have to do that within the first 2 weeks. Otherwise, we're expecting that list to be used, and the deadline being June 27th. also do on that date is your driving safety course. We'll give you course information, and we'll also give you, the community service information, and then we'll get your signature what time on the deferred order itself, so that you know that I've granted it and you have a copy that lists what you need to do. Can you be here by 11 this morning? I'm so sorry. Let me have you unmute.
I actually have an appointment online at 11 with my therapist.
Okay. So 1.
Is there any, I know he said something about, I have access to a printer and scanner. Is there any way to email that paperwork and I can send it back?
Yes. As long as you can print it and sign it and email it back. And it's 2 pages that you're sending back. You'll get a bunch of pages, but you'll only send back the waiver form and the deferred form. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. And then call and make sure we received it, or you'll get an email reply saying we got it. Okay?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Long.
Thanks.
You're good to go. Mr. Mattson, I'm going to move you forward, and your next person is Cindy Southern. Cindy Southern, can you unmute and tell me how you're doing this morning?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I sure can.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let me move you over to that meeting with the prosecutor. And we'll all come back here at the end.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, and I too am moving forward. Let me just pull files. Hang on just a minute. Christopher Weed, can you unmute and tell me how you're doing? The only trouble is his audio has not been working and his video is not working. So Chris Weed, do you have some way to unmute? So what I'll do, for whatever reason, things didn't connect on your end. Since others are connected here, the problem is now I know to be on the end of your technology. Sometimes it's a matter of just dialing back in. So if you can hear me, I'm going to ask you to do that. You will not lose your place in line. And I will move on. The next person is Jamal Baba. Could you unmute and talk to me? How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Let's see. I'm just looking at everything. This is the 4th request. And I just, to extend for community service, I'm willing to consider it, but I want to kind of look at the history. Give me just a moment. I need to look at the history of everything. Have we had any hours turned in? This is on Mr. It's the last name is Baba, comma, and then Jamal. So just Jamal. Yeah. Right, there are the 3 cases, and it does look like we've had some hours turned in on that FMFR. He didn't complete it. I don't know when his last. I know we credited them on another case, but probably we made notes. It looks like February we got some. Oh, that was cool. I didn't know we could do that. What you just did. We did, but there's a reason why it's $66. It may have been a while. Okay. We have not had any hours from you since January. So I can give you 30 days, but I need to see some progress before we continue to keep pushing this down the road. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll extend you 30 days. to May 11th. Do you have everything you need still to?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. All right. And let me just look and see how many hours we're currently. Okay, I have 24 hours due. Okay, I'll go ahead and send you a timesheet that'll have your new due date and your hours at the top. If you need more, if you need the list, I think we'll go ahead and send it because some of our processes and providers have changed. Okay. I can certainly hear you, Mr. Baba.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
No, I did not hear you.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
You have until May 11th.
Okay.
There are 24 hours due. We will send the information to the email that we used to put the case, to send the meeting notice for today. But I need to see some progress before I grant any more extensions after that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right, great. That keeps you out of warrant and gives you a chance to make some progress. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're good to go. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. So I have Chris Weed coming back online. Still also, there are a few people that just, I don't know if they're here. Let me see if I can get Chris Weed's audio connected. And if so, I'm going to jump on that before it goes away. It looks like it's trying to connect. Hi, Mr. Weed. Nope, no audio. I can't hear you. Okay, well, I can't keep trying to get him to stop me. You know, folks, if you move around, your machine is just being challenged repeatedly. It's not going to connect. I did send a text message to him, and I'm just going to move on for right now, and I'm willing to come back to it if I get a message in reply. But my next person is Serenity Curry. Ms. Curry, can you unmute so that I can hear you? Look him up. Ms. Curry. She's talking to someone else with her mute button on. Okay, well, if I call your name and you don't reply, it's not a meeting now, is it? So I'm going to just move on. I have a question. Chelsea Vasquez, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. I'm right
Great.
here.
Great. Okay. Let me get your file pulled. I do have a request for teen court, and to do that, I'm going to need to get proof that you're enrolled in school. And Yeah. So where are you in school?
I had recently just got transferred out because the
Into
schools
where?
that the schools that I was going to, they wasn't really like, I wasn't really feeling them. So I chose that I wanted to do online schooling. So me and my grandma, we've been trying to do that. So the school that I recently just got out, they sent me like, I think five or so like what's it called? Like online schoolings to show me like which ones I want. And it's a choice of variety. But the thing is though, where it says files, like there's some of the files that I gotta put on there, and the files that I put, like I gotta take a picture of it though.
Okay,
And
so here's the thing. I need proof of enrollment in order to do teen court. And what I'm hearing is that you can't provide that today. So I can give you 2 weeks and we can reschedule.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, I'm just going to make a note that I'm rescheduling you so that you can get enrolled and provide proof to the court. The other question I have is, are you getting a driver's license?
I'm supposed to, because my grandma and my grandpa, they have this disability. Like he can't see, and my grandma, I think something's wrong with her legs. I'm not sure, because
Okay,
they be
so I
asking
just
me.
need to let you know though that the law doesn't let you drive for an essential purpose until you're licensed, until that's approved. Part of it is going to come down to whether you're properly enrolled in school. So you'll want to get on it, and because I'm going to expect a status update for when you're getting your driver's license along with your enrollment. I also want to tell you that I'm rescheduling you to April 25th. And my expectation is by that date, you will have shown the court, emailed in proof of enrollment in school or an accredited program. And you'll have an update on when you're getting your license. Okay.
Okay.
The reason I'm doing that is this is to your benefit. But if you don't show up and you don't do what you're supposed to do, and if you're not here, you're going to waive some options that might make this a little bit easier. So right now it may seem like I'm having you do a bunch of things, but that's because you're going to be required to do them anyway. But right now you could do them and have a lot of benefit. So
Okay.
you'll need to log on the meeting and got proof of enrollment, send it in. If you can show me you're enrolled in a school to get your license and you're having that hardship approved, send that into whatever you've got. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll reset you. I will see you then.
On April 25th, you said?
Yes. And I'll need a parent when you
She's right here.
Great. Mom, do you understand what's needing to happen?
Grandma.
Yes,
Grandma?
ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
We're trying to make it a little easier and maybe look for a possible dismissal if we can get her there. But we need enrollment and maybe some headway on the license. Don't keep
Okay.
driving. Okay.
I won't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. A little bit of chaos. Patricia Bilton, are you here? Brianna Brooks, are you here? Chris Weed, can you come and get on the screen and let me know that you hear me?
Brianne Brooks is here.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay. So this is a disorderly conduct discharge of a firearm in the city. The fines and costs, if you paid it, are $331. The allegation date is February 27th. And I did receive a plea of no contest and a request for a payment plan. I am able to approve a payment plan. Let me look and see what the requested amount was. You had requested to pay $100 a month. I can approve that. And if you will name the date when you would begin.
Okay.
Are you Brianna Brooks?
Yes, I'm Brian Brooks.
Okay.
Thursday I get paid for my job. I just right now I lost my home. So I'm living out of a room, and so I am working, and I have 2 children that I am also taking care of as well while they live at their grandmother's. So I'm trying to get a new place. So I want to make that happen so I can have a roof over my head. But I am willing to pay
I think
my
we need to
first
make some
100.
adjustments though.
My
I'm
first
sorry.
100. Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt you, but I'm just sort of voicing that I think I'd make some adjustments to the $100 request. Are you at the job where you are now with, I read Red House. Are you every other week you're paid?
Yes.
Okay. And your first paycheck is this week, Thursday?
Thursday.
The 2 weeks from today is the 27th. Could you pay $25 on that day?
Yes.
Can you do that every 2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll start on April 27th, and it'll be $25 every 2 weeks. So it's a little bit less than what you had requested, but you've got a lot of transition events happening in your life, and I think that it's appropriate for me to make an adjustment to that. As long as and then if you find that you want to get it done faster, you're free to pay early and get it done faster. No one will penalize you for that. These are minimum payments.
Thank you.
Okay. When can you come by the court today and sign the payment plan?
Well, I'm also taking lifts. So as soon as I can find a lift and route, because I don't go to work, I don't clock into 12. So as soon as I can find a lift, then I can go there and I can sign the papers.
Okay, I'll
today.
just put that you'll be here by 11:30-ish. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that way maybe if you're doing it on your way to work, because it won't take very long, and they'll just have it, you'll review it, you'll sign it, you'll get a copy, and out you go. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Do you have any more questions, Ms. Brooks?
No, ma'am.
All right, you have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you. Okay. So with Mr. Weed, Mr. Weed, I can't hear you, and I don't even see that you can hear me. You're just kind of walking around and not responding. So I'm going to disconnect you. If you call back in, I'm actually not going to let you in the meeting because there's no way to hear you. There's no way I'm not getting a chat. Oh, he's out in the lobby. So let them know he's on a deferral. His deferral ended. Back in February. The only extension could have been until I have about 10 days to work with him. I've gotten no community service hours, which was the only thing he had to do. I can give him until the 20th to turn it in. Or else I'll enter a conviction. And he'll still have to do it. I've been texting him and asking him to at least acknowledge, and that's not happened. So I just don't know what else, but the most extension I can give on it is to extend to the end of the deferral and reset the show cause for that day. I'm not going to change his due date on his paper, but I'll probably accept him. Yeah, that's all I can do for him. Okay. So she's going to help him out in the lobby. And then the next person I want to talk to is Hugo Osorio. Hugo Osorio, can you unmute?
Yes, yes, I'm Mr. Garcia speaking for
Yes.
Mr. Hugo Osorio.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. I did write that down. I'm just looking at the doctor note that he submitted on the community service hours. Let me just look and see what's going on. Give me just a moment.
Okay.
Did we have community service? Okay, there it is. Okay, he's got AFib and
So, Your Honor, they didn't approve his community service
I-
he was trying to do it at.
yeah, let me update you, okay? I mean, I want to hear from you, but I may circumvent you just a little because I think I already know what I'm going to do. I ordered community service. It was due April 16th. That hasn't happened yet, but Mr. Osorio provided a doctor's note from his doctor explaining that he could not do the community service. The doctor told me the reasons why, and I agree, and therefore I will waive the community service at this time. Therefore, that will zero out his balance. I'm waiving his fines and costs due to a physical inability to complete community service now at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you, Your Honor. So that means with this, everything will be set. You don't have
That's
to do
right.
anything else.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. Well, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And y'all are good to go. Okay.
All right.
Thank you for being there for your friend.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Great. You too. Okay. Now I'm moving forward. Let's see. I think almost everybody else that I'm aware of is on the pretrial list, but let me just look. Serenity Curry is trying to get back in. Maybe I can get somewhere with her. Hi, Ms. Curry, can you get unmuted so we can talk?
I'm sorry.
I can hear you now. Okay, so where we are is that I did accept your plea of no contest because we were in a first offender program, but the thing
Yes, ma'am.
that's required for that was the theft class to be done. And so I did last time we set this case, I called you, but your mailbox was full. Here we are now, and the only thing I can do, I've already accepted the plea of no contest and found you guilty. There's a balance due of $311, and I can order community service for that balance. And that's going to turn into 16 hours of community service. The city of Temple is one of the providers on the community service list, and you can work with them or pick one of the other providers. If you leave the list, there is a very specific process that you must engage in the next 2 weeks, or you waive the option to leave the list. You need to use the list, but it's not a big deal. You just need to be aware of, you're making decisions if you put it off too long. I do need you to come by and sign for your community service hours. And what time will you be here today?
I can see if I can get a ride right now, but if not, I can come around like 1 or 2.
I'll just put that you'll be here by 2.
Okay.
We will see you then. Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Okay, Mr. Matson, I know you were talking to Cindy Sutherland, and I'm pulling that file and moving her back over. Okay. All right, if we could get an update on the Southern case, that would be great.
We are going to continue to final pretrial, Your Honor.
Okay, final pretrial is scheduled for May 31st at 2 o'clock. You'll need to plan to be here an hour, but sometimes it's not quite that long. Okay?
Your Honor,
Yes.
did you say one? I need to be there at 1?
No, I said May 31st at 2:00.
Okay. Yes,
And it should be on the papers you were sent as well. We put that in writing along with the setting for today. Okay?
okay, Your Honor, thank you.
We'll see you then.
Okay,
Okay. Bye-bye.
have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you.
Mr. Matson, moving you forward. Your next person is Catherine Blundell. Catherine Blundell, if you can unmute, that would be great so we know your audio is working.
Hello.
Okay. Hi. I'm going to move you over to that meeting with the prosecutor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Caught up on papers. There we go. Thank you. And okay. Okay, Patricia Bilton, are you here? That just, I've got some notes in case, and I think they're just put no show. Judge's notes if requests payment plan before warrant would be the max you would want to write. You don't need to write all that out, but they need to look at the notes, hopefully. Deshanea Coleman, are you here? I've got 2 unidentified people that have not identified through the meeting. So I've got to call all the names of all the missing people. Deshanea Coleman, are you here? I'll be right with you. Still trying to figure out who the two silent people are. Very frustrating when people log in and think it's our responsibility to figure it out. On the Blundell case, I'm just moving her back. Oh, gentleman in the red t-shirt on the iPhone, perhaps in a van or car. I'm sorry, you just unmuted. I re-unmute. Please tell me your name. Sorry, if you could unmute again, please.
Okay, my name is Robert Hernandez, and
Great.
I've been on since
I know. I know you've been on. It's a question of and we hadn't gotten to your name, but I had been hitting that iPhone with an unmute request, and now I know who you are. You're good to go.
Okay.
But I'm gonna change the name on the screen.
Okay.
And we'll be with you shortly.
Okay, man.
Are you connected to Anna Raquel Hernandez? Because I also have that. I don't think y'all are connected. Thought I'd ask since I have that as a notion.
You talking to me?
Yeah, do you know that person?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's cool. There's no reason why you would. It's just, I don't think it's the phone caller either. Okay, we'll be with you shortly.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Matson, I know that I'm still trying to get the Blundell movement to happen, and I've sent it like 4 times. So
I will go take a look.
Anna Hernandez, are you here?
I think I got it figured out, Judge.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get an update on the Blundell case.
Your Honor, this charge was for driving while license invalid, and Miss Blundell has already submitted a current valid driver's license, and I actually just took a look at it, so I'm going to be dismissing this case.
Okay. Prosecutor dismissal on that charge.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the speeding charge is in payment.
That was already on deferral, I believe, Your Honor.
It's in a driving safety process with everything, the course and the record due by June 15th. Okay. Ms. Blundell?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Do you understand your due dates?
Yes, ma'am.
And also, we will email the dismissal on the other charge.
I do have a question on the driver's safety. I have to turn in. I completed it, and I haven't received the actual form from the business that I took the class through. But they did send me like a download link where I can print it off.
Right.
Is the like official copy from them necessary, or can I?
I can't really tell you what I would do with a thing I haven't yet seen, but print it, send it, and let's see if we can just get it done. It's probably fine. Don't forget to also have your driving record due.
Yes, I have that as well.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. You're good to go. Now, I will say the next name horribly, and I'll do my best. Arbuthnot? Mr. Arbuthnot? Arbuthnot?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I'm going to move you over to that meeting with the prosecutor. Thank you. Anna Raquel Hernandez, are you here? Okay, that can go to community service. Since she is indigent, I'm sorry, let me stamp one more thing on there. Apologies. Remind me to tell you the policy on that later today. Even though it's a no-show, but, and I know we've already talked about the time limits, but it's gonna be 15 hours. We made 11. There we go. Okay, it's not, then we have, after that, we have Mr. Castro. Fernandez. Deborah Williams, are you here? Deborah Williams, are you here? Charmaine Gott, are you here? This number appears to be Deborah Williams, but I've had no response all morning and it's unmuted and there's no sound. I'm going to disconnect and give you an opportunity to just try dialing back in. Maybe we can just chalk it up.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, well, I've called your name and your number several times. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You'll have a turn shortly. We've got a few people ahead of you, but just keep listening. And we'll have you have a turn shortly, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. There's a motion. It's to be shredded. This is a no-show. Okay. Folks, you're just going to see me signing paperwork, so don't worry, I won't be forgetting about anybody. I'll be looking around on my screen. Very boring looking. And talking to clerks who bring me papers. Yes, how can I help you? Is this my stuff? Oh, him. Yes. Thank you. I gave Mr. Raines. Oh, I guess it's in here. Yeah. Is the suspension mandatory at this time, since from where I'm sitting, this is the first, I mean, I know that our letter was clear, but I didn't do an order prior. I didn't find an order. Since this is a first order, do I have any leeway to not do that? It's automatic on the conviction, right? Has he already passed the conviction 30 days?
Oh, yes.
So it's a retroactive one.
He's already done his.
Mhm. Okay, that's what I was thinking. And so we put it in and then he's got to pay to reinstate his license. Mhm. I don't have those dates because I don't know the conviction date, but
One of them is like 15.
for um, send him a copy of this. His signature is not needed for this order to be effective. It's a 30-day suspension beginning 10 days from the date of conviction. Is that right? If December 15th, let me look and see if that makes any kind of sense. And we had court. So beginning on 12/26. And then reading 30. Don't read it. We will be sending a reading. Oh, that's right, because we've got camera kids. Oh, yes, I will do this in just a moment. I heard somebody trying to get in and cannot imagine who that could be at this hour. Let me check. Okay, let's try and get Mr. Avenant. Great, okay. Mr. Matson, if we can get an update on the Arbonne case.
Yes, Your Honor, we're going to go ahead and set for final pretrial, but I do anticipate this case being resolved prior to that date.
Well, that's great if it does, but if not, we'll be here. Mr. Arbonne. It's a French name, maybe. We'll see you on May 31st at 2 unless the case has been removed from the docket. Only the judge has the right to remove the case from the docket. So always call and check the morning of and just make sure. If you think you shouldn't have to be here and Mr. Matson thinks you shouldn't have to be here, but I still think y'all need to be here, it means I'm missing something and we all need to, get huddle and figure it out. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. You're good to go unless you have any questions.
No, thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Mr. Matson, I'm moving you forward with the Cohan Retail Investment, and Mr. Jose Castro is here representing. That is his business. He's moved over.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. I just let somebody in who just came into the meeting. Can you unmute and tell me who you are? Telephone caller?
Hi, this is Patricia Bilton. I just got here. I'm sorry I'm having to do it this way. I didn't have any service on my phone.
2 hours late. Let me try to get your file pulled back up.
Sorry,
Give,
ma'am.
give me a moment. I'm Judge Person. Give me a moment to get your file pulled up, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so what was submitted to me, and I'm the judge of the court, my name is Judge Person. What I received was, that we had been in a payment plan and that's not actually what's happening. You're requesting community service. You told me your income, but you didn't tell me any of your expenses. You didn't complete the payment application form. In fact, you told me there were no bills by drawing through everything.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And drawing through everything and putting zeros. So what's the situation? I don't
Well,
understand.
What's happening is my husband got arrested 5 months ago, and
Okay.
he is 100% disabled. I mean, a veteran, and that's his pension is my money. Okay, and so the problem is it got not only either it got cut off, but somebody went and changed. I found out a couple of days ago. Somebody went and changed our address, so his check comes in a check form, and so they've been stealing it every month. And I just left. That's why I'm late, because I was hoping that the post office would have our mail, or tell me where it went to, or where it was, whoever did it, or where it went to, so that I could file charges or go to the people, or maybe they have it. But I don't have a car, as you see. I can't drive because I'll get arrested. So I can't go up there and get power of attorney from him, and I don't have an ID. So this is silly stuff. But just unfortunately, for some reason, that's what's happening. But I don't know why the post office won't tell me anything. But that's where his checks are. Post office
Are
knows.
you working?
I worked for one day, and they fired me today because it was a painting, and I'm not a professional. So I'm not, but I'm looking.
When did you last work?
I've been married for 7 years. I've been a long time. I was on disability until I got arrested, and then they were supposed to give it back to me. They haven't. But my husband is my sole provider, and so I mean, usually I get his money if he goes to jail, but somebody has been taking it. That's what it is. I don't know how they could change my address and his without an ID. I don't understand.
I'm not going to be able to answer those questions.
Right.
I have I have a balance of $569 that so far has not been paid. Then you also wrote that y'all listen for a moment, and then I'll ask for an answer, and then I'll give you an opportunity to speak again in a moment. But you've been speaking, and now I have some questions. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So on the form that you submitted, you wrote that no one in the home is receiving any unemployment, Social Security, disability, retirement, or child support. Is that correct?
That's correct. Nothing.
And then no one is receiving any utility assistance or food stamps or any other assistance?
My mom and dad live in the home, but they own their house, and so they don't pay my bills. They pay their light bill and stuff like that. So that's separate from me. Yes, they're kind of taking care of me right now.
Okay, and you don't have any small children in the home?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and Then, so you don't have any bills that you are paying.
No, ma'am, I don't have anything right now. I don't have no absolutely nothing, but I have no income either due to this. I will have my husband. My husband's supposed to get out on the 21st of this month, and things will get straightened back out. Fortunately, I can't do anything for him. It's all in his name.
Okay. All right.
Had pushed
So,
back. I'm sorry.
okay. So you're representing to me over the phone, but I'm taking it that there is no income, there are no bills at this time. You do not have a way to pay, and you're asking for community service. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't know how you went to the post office, but you're gonna need to come by the court to pick up a packet. It's 29 hours of community service with an absolute due date of June 27th. And we'll give you a list of places where you can do the work. And you'll sign saying you understand there's no privacy and no coverage if you're injured. And then you'll go and you'll have a list of places that are pre-approved to use to do the work. Okay?
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, you said you're here already?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're in the lobby right now or just like
Yes, ma'am.
outside?
I'm in the lobby using their phone. They called you for me.
Okay, that's great. Just give us a few minutes to get your paperwork ready, and then a clerk will be able to give it to you in about 10 minutes, okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
That's all you need.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Okay, we're just waiting to complete things, so just keep kind of hanging out, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Mattson. Let me keep trying to get Mr. Castro back over. Okay, if we can get an update on these cases, there are a number of them.
Your Honor, we're going to go ahead and set for final pretrial.
Okay,
I do think there's a good chance that these cases will be resolved prior to that date.
okay. I did receive also, just in connection with any resolution, the income information financial affidavit was just, a line drawn through it, and it's not an admission of guilt, but it will be required at the next hearing. If there are any agreements that y'all come to, if anything is left pending with the court, I will have to have that filled out. So, Mr. Castro, you might want to swing by and complete that sometime for me so that I can act on anything that y'all give me to do. May 31st at 3:00. We'll see everybody then. Any
Judge,
questions?
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was told by the clerk that the financial information wasn't required since it represented a company that was requesting personal information. That's the reason why we crossed that information. Is that
Who
accurate?
told you that? Who told you that?
The clerk down.
Well, there's 5 of them. So which one?
I forgot that. I have the email. I think
What did
it's-
they look like?
I tell you her name right now if you give me 1 second. Her name was Lisa Gates, I think.
Okay. That's not a correct statement. And I'll address it with that clerk. I require it for everyone to fill it out.
Okay.
How you choose to divulge what you divulge there is, I know you've got sort of mixed. You've got a business, you've got yourself. The business is the one being charged. I assume people would fill it out for their business since it's a business entity being charged. But I can also see where that's like a lot of information, but maybe not relevant to how this form normally appears.
Mhm.
So without looking at your tax information, which I don't really want to do, frankly, I just don't really care to wade in that deeply. But the way that I do this is that if there are agreements that are reached, and I'm normally going to follow those agreements if they get reached between you and the state, I require the information if anything is not getting paid at the point that I approve agreement. So, like, let's say that everybody agreed one case is getting dismissed and one case is getting paid. That's not your case because I'm actually don't want y'all to tell me anything that you're working on. But let's pretend for a minute there was an A charge and a B charge, and A was being dismissed and B was getting paid, and you said, I'm paying this today. And I would go, okay, we're fine. But if you said, I need tomorrow, I need next week, I need next month, I need a payout, then I need that info. So I always try to get it ahead of time because then we get to the end and people go, well, why are you asking for that now? Like, well, I've asked all along. So you think about it. If you will swing by and fill it out, that's going to facilitate any agreement that y'all put ahead of me. If you don't do that before the next setting, then we'll just do it when we get here. Okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
All good. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Mr. Mattson, I'm moving you forward and the next person. And his audio was working just fine a moment ago. And let me just, great. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. I think I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll move you over to that meeting with the prosecutor.
Yes.
After that, the last case will be Ms. Williams' case. Ms. Williams will be with you shortly. we ever go out for bids again? Anything? One thing we need to ask is, do you anticipate the sale? Are you actively marketing the product to be sold in the next 3 to 12 months? Because this thing with LG, I mean, now they pushed us into September, right? The update that is literally a year and a half. I met with them in April of last year in a meeting of developing work group that they complimented me into being in. And, you know, it's just months away of a delay already. I'm sitting here, I literally could bake bread waiting for documents to open. Couldn't y'all? It's like my dough was risen. And my, you know, for the length I wait. And then it pulls all the documents up at once and tells me you opened it too many times. Does it do that to y'all too? Yeah, if I try to ask if I double click, it'll sometimes tell me that I made an error and that I need to show. And sometimes I have to show everything. Well, I wonder, did it take? Because it doesn't confirm that the click happened. Aaron, on warrant things that I used to send to you and Yolanda, is it just you or you and someone else now? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Matson, on the Hernandez case. Can we get an update?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hernandez actually submitted photos reflecting that the property is in compliance late last night. So I'm going to be dismissing this charge.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Mr. Hernandez, I will sign the dismissal in this case.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Do you need me to go pick it up, or you're just gonna email it to me?
We can email it to the email that we used to set this meeting up. Will that work for you?
Yes, ma'am, that'll work.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. You take care.
Have a good day. You have a good day.
You too. Okay, and then Mr. Matson, the next person is Ms. Williams. And Deborah Williams, can you unmute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but so what's going to happen is you're actually going to be moved from this virtual room to another virtual room. The purpose of that meeting is to have a conversation with Mr. Matson, who is the prosecutor in the case. That means he represents the state. He's not your attorney, but he'll be seeing if y'all are able to come to a resolution, and there will be things he might be willing to do. There will be things he might not be willing to do. So you know, that's just a discussion that I'm not part of. Okay.
Your Honor, before you move Ms. Williams over,
Yes.
Since she's the last person, I don't have a problem discussing this right now. She actually also submitted an updated placard to the court, and I have reviewed it, so I planned on dismissing her ticket as well.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Williams, Actually, the prosecutor says there's not a need for us to do that meeting because he's already made the decision based on the information that you provided to the court to do a dismissal in your case, okay?
All right. Thank you all so much.
Yes, ma'am. Let me ask you a question. I don't have an email for you. I can mail a copy to this. Do you want me to mail it to you or do you want to come by and get a copy?
You can just mail it to me because I'm down and out. I just got the hospital yesterday, so
Okay,
I really ain't doing to moving around.
okay. That's another question. Are you on Calhoun?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll mail to that address.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you all so much.
Okay, thank you, Miss Williams. Take care.
All right, you are too. All right, bye-bye.
Stay blessed.